The documentaries, fictional stories, and poems on this channel contain mature themes including psychological horror, violence, death, self-harm, mental health crises, and other disturbing subject matter. If you're sensitive to dark content, this may not be for you. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Welcome back to the Daily Grind Drones. I am the Howlerist. In this episode, I am going to tell you about the machine that is slowly killing us all. But firstly, if you're new here, why not join my pack? Like and subscribe. I have so many dark stories still to create for you. Right now, the belt is moving, so let's begin our shift. The work-die cycle. There is a word in Japanese that has no direct translation in English. Karoshi. It means death by overwork. The first recognized case was in 1969. A 29-year-old shipping worker at Japan's largest newspaper. He died of a stroke at his desk. They called it occupational sudden death. A one-off, an anomaly. It wasn't. Since then, the World Health Organization and the International Labor Organization have estimated that 750,000 people die every year from conditions directly linked to long working hours. That's a 29% increase since the year 2000. In the United States alone, work-related stress kills 120,000 people per year. That makes it the fifth leading cause of death. More than diabetes, more than Alzheimer's, more than influenza. Let that settle for a moment. Your job is statistically more likely to kill you than Alzheimer's disease. And yet, tomorrow morning, you will get up. You will go to work. You will do what you are told. And you will call it making a living. The numbers. Let's look at the arithmetic of a life. The average person begins full-time work at around 18. If they're fortunate, they retire in their late 60s. That's roughly 49 years. 100,000 hours sold to someone else in exchange for the ability to exist. But here's the number they don't put on the job advert. The healthy life expectancy in developed nations, the age at which you can reasonably expect to live without chronic disease or significant disability, is 63.9 years. Most people won't stop working until 67. You are statistically likely to already be ill by the time you stop working. And the trend is getting worse. People are living longer, but spending more of those extra years sick. We're not gaining life. We're gaining illness. The system is not designed for you to enjoy the years after. The years after are a bonus, a leftover, a rounding error in an equation that was never written in your favor. And it gets worse. Here in Australia, the pension age used to be 65. They raised it to 67. They made you work longer. But if your body breaks in those final years, and it is more likely to break because you are old, you are tired, and you have been on the belt for half a century, they won't catch you when you fall. Workers' compensation is capped at only 12 months. Income protection unavailable past 65. They raised the age you're allowed to stop, but they didn't extend the protection for staying on. That's not an oversight. That's the machine working exactly as designed. The 4 paths. When you enter the workforce, you are told you have a choice: work for someone else or work for yourself. 2 roads. Pick one. What nobody tells you is that there are actually 4 paths, and every single one of them leads to the same place. Path 1. The employee. You trade your time for money. Someone else decides what your time is worth. Someone else decides when you arrive and when you leave. Someone else profits from the gap between what you produce and what you're paid. That gap has a name in economics. It's called surplus value. It has another name in real life. It's called your boss's house. 83% of workers report suffering from work-related stress. 91% of 18 to 24-year-olds already show symptoms of burnout. They haven't even started yet, and the machine is already wearing them down. And if you survive, if you make it to 65 without your body giving out, you get a card, maybe a cake, and a pension that's worth less every year. Path 2. The self-employed. You escape the machine. You become your own boss. You answer to nobody. That's the pitch anyway. The reality? 49% of entrepreneurs report having at least one mental illness. A third struggle with 2 or more. They rate their loneliness at 7.6 out of 10. 73% spend less time with their friends. 60% see less of their spouse. 58% see less of their children. Nearly 90% say they struggle with their mental health. And 77% never seek help. You didn't escape the machine. You just became the machine. You are the employer and the employed. You are the exploiter and the exploited. And there is no one to hand your notice to when it gets too much, because you would be handing it to yourself. Path 3. Financial independence. The dream. There is a movement. They call it FIRE. Financial independence. Retire early. The idea is simple. Save between 50 and 75% of your income. Invest aggressively. Retire in your 30s or 40s. It sounds like freedom. It sounds like the answer. But the median household income in the UK is £36,700. Saving 75% of that means living on £9,000 a year. That's less than £750 a month. For everything. Rent, food, bills, life. And passive income? A £50,000 investment portfolio. Years of aggressive saving for an average earner generates roughly £100 to £260 per month. You cannot live on that. You cannot raise a child on that. You can barely exist on that. The escape route from the machine requires the very thing that's killing you. Years of grinding to build the capital to eventually stop grinding. It is a trap inside a trap. And they sell it to you in podcasts with titles like Passive Income While You Sleep, Path 4, Step Off the Belt. And then there are those who stop, who step off the conveyor belt entirely, by choice, by circumstance, or because the machine spat them out. You might think they'd live longer. No boss, no deadlines, no stress, no alarm at 6 in the morning. The data says otherwise. People living in high unemployment areas die almost 4 years earlier than those in low unemployment areas. The long-term unemployed have at least double the risk of mental illness, particularly depression and anxiety. And that risk increases the longer they're out of work. In Australia, between 2004 and 2016, nearly 20% of all suicides, over 6,000 deaths, were directly linked to unemployment and underemployment. Even with welfare support, the gap doesn't close. It narrows, but it doesn't close. The unemployed who receive benefits still die at significantly higher rates than those who work. It turns out the machine doesn't just grind you down while you're on it. It's built so that stepping off is just as dangerous as staying on. Work will break your body, but the absence of work will break your mind. The system isn't a path. It's a cage, and every wall is a different way to die. If you or someone you know is struggling, please reach out. In Australia, Lifeline is available 24 hours a day on 131114. Beyond Blue can be reached on 1300224636. You are not alone, and asking for help is not weakness. It is the one act of defiance the machine cannot take from you. The real story. I knew a man. He worked his whole life, gave everything to the job. He had a double cardiac arrest at 48 years old. He survived, and he went back to work. He went back to work because that's what you do. That's what the machine taught him. That's what his father did. That's what his father's father did. You get up, you go to work, you come home. You do it again. You do it until you can't, and then you try to do it anyway. He quit his job as a mechanic in January, not by choice. His body wouldn't let him eat anymore. They found the cancer, esophageal. The night before his daughter's wedding, they got the diagnosis. He had major surgery. He had chemo and radiotherapy. He fought. And when the treatment was done, he went back to work again. Not as a mechanic this time. His body couldn't do that anymore. So he drove trucks instead. Different job, same machine. A body already riddled with cancer, and still he climbed behind the wheel. Because that's what the belt taught him. Keep moving. Keep earning. Keep going until you can't. He died in November. He was 54. 54 years old. 40-odd years of work. And for what? What did the machine give him in return? What was the exchange rate for a human life? A pension he never collected. A retirement he never saw. A body that was used up and thrown away like a part that had worn out. The girl at the gate. I know a girl. She's 19. She works part-time at a supermarket. They're cutting her shifts, not because she's bad at her job, because she's too expensive. Someone younger will do it for less. She hasn't even started her career, and she's already being replaced. I tried to explain it to her. The difference between spending your life paying off someone else's house or building something of your own. I told her it's nothing but a mindset, a leap of faith. She looked at me and said something that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. She said, I just want to go to work, do my job, and knock off. I don't want to have to find the work or be responsible for how much work there is. She's 19 years old, and she has already chosen the cage. Not because she weighed up the options, not because she examined the evidence, but because the system trained her to want it. The comfort of not having to think, the safety of someone else making the decisions. Just show up, do the hours, go home, and get paid. She doesn't want the responsibility, but she's already got one. She's responsible for a life that is being sold off in hourly increments to people who wouldn't notice if she disappeared tomorrow. She sounded exactly like the man I told you about, the one who went back to work after a double cardiac arrest. He didn't question it either. That's just what you do. She is standing at the entrance to the machine. The door is open, the conveyor belt is moving, and she is stepping onto it willingly, gratefully, because nobody ever instilled in her that there was anything else. The question, so what is the alternative? Work for someone else, and the stress, the hours, the lack of control will eat you alive. The data is clear. 120,000 dead a year in America alone. Work for yourself, and the loneliness, the pressure, the never switching off will hollow you out from the inside. Half of all entrepreneurs are mentally ill. That's not a statistic, that's a diagnosis. Chase financial freedom, and you'll spend the best years of your life living on scraps so that one day, maybe you can afford to stop. Assuming the market doesn't crash, assuming inflation doesn't eat your savings, assuming you live long enough. Step off the belt entirely, and the isolation, the depression, the loss of purpose will come for you just as surely as the stress would have. The machine doesn't let you leave. It just kills you differently on the way out. 4 paths, same destination. The horror is not that the system kills people. We've known that for decades. The Japanese named it in the 1970s. The horror is not that there's no way out. There are ways out. They're just hidden behind walls of capital that most people will never climb. The horror is that most people never realize they're in it. They go to work, they do their job, they knock off, and they do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next, until one day they don't. And the machine doesn't pause. It doesn't mourn. It replaces them with someone younger, someone cheaper. Someone like a 19-year-old girl who just wants to do her job and go home. Closing. Now, these numbers don't exist in a vacuum. Life doesn't happen in neat categories. Your diet, your genetics, your relationships, your mental health, they all feed into the machine alongside you. The statistics can't separate every thread. But the pattern is clear, and the pattern says the same thing every time. The man who died at 54 was my father. He worked his whole life. He survived a double cardiac arrest and went straight back. He fought cancer with surgery and radiotherapy. And when the treatment was done, he got behind the wheel of a truck and kept going. He never stopped fighting. But he was never fighting the cancer alone. Not really. The cancer was just the final invoice. The bill for 40 years of a life spent making someone else rich. He was fighting the machine, and the machine won. It always wins. Unless you choose to stop running on the belt before it stops for you. I can't tell you how to escape the machine. Nobody can. Because the truth is, there is no clean way out. Not for most of us. Every path leads somewhere dark. The data proved that. But there is a difference between walking the path with your eyes closed and walking it with your eyes open. My father never had that choice. Nobody showed him the numbers. Nobody told him the machine he was feeding would never feed him back. He went back to work because that's just what you do. Nobody told him it didn't have to be. I'm telling you now, you still have to earn. You still have to live. But you don't have to sleepwalk into the grinder and call it a good life. You don't have to wait for the diagnosis to ask yourself, is this worth dying for? The machine only runs because we keep stepping onto the belt. Now you know that. What you do next is up to you. But you can never say, nobody told you. A lullaby for the living. Come now, little one, don't be afraid. The world has a path already laid. Billions before this road have tread. It starts at birth until you're dead. As you grow, your training starts to become just one of their moving parts. What's expected? Learn those rules. Avoid mistakes that are made by fools. Dress you up and comb your hair. Sit yourself in a plastic chair, but words and math, not all they teach. The implications hide beneath. Be good, be still, be grateful, be small. Don't question the machine at all. When school is done, the world is wide. With hope and dreams, you step outside. Now finally, you have a voice, an illusion that you have a choice, instilled in you to toe the line. Just work hard and you'll be fine. Work long hours, pay the loan. Soon your time will be your own. But nobody mentioned the interest rates, or that one sweet day comes far too late. And nobody says, as they wave you through, the house belongs to the bank, not you. Be good, be still, be grateful, be small. Don't question the machine at all. Monday morning, alarm at 6. Coffee, keys, the same old tricks. Dashboard glow and traffic queue, the same gray road you always knew. Clock in early, clock out late, microwave dinner on a plate. Telly on, but the eyes are dead. Too tired to live, too wired for bed. Tuesday's the same, and Wednesday too. Thursday blurs into Friday blue. Only 2 days to cram your life. See the world, your kids, your wife. Before you notice, spare time is gone. The never-ending grind you're on. Exhaustion wears your body thin, but undeterred, your goals locked in. Be good, be still, be grateful, be small. Don't question the machine at all. 40 years pass like the dawn. Your family grown, your wife has gone. 6 months to go, then life is yours. But who are all your riches for? Debt now paid, every hard-earned cent. Relationships with no time spent. And your worn-out body starts to fail. But at least you have that bill of sale. The house stands quiet, you're alone. No one to comfort your aching bones. Another treatment, surely soon. You'll recover from this impending doom. Then finally, a tragic blow. Not long now, your time to go. If only you could tell you're young. Don't trust the lullaby I sung.